those we may oppose deserve the rights we all uphold. For if we deny them what is fair, we build our own prison in despair. The fight's not easy, it never will be, but justice for one is the key to be free. We stand as Mavericks, together we strive, defending the rights that keep freedom alive. We're Mavericks of freedom, rebels in the fight, upholding every truth, protecting every right. When one is oppressed, we're all in the thrall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all. So take a stand, let your courage rise. Defend the truth, don't compromise. For the soul of the world, the writing's on the wall. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. The ostrich farm story. We're going to update that. We're going to fix the lighting here in a minute. We're going to talk about this investigation involving Klaus Schwab. My, how the mighty have begun to fade away. Even the people who seem to be at the very top of the food chain. And we'll talk about the food chain, food supply, safety, concerns, animal rights, and free speech. I want to talk about that tonight because last night, man, were some people triggered, some people not happy at all with what we were talking about last night, because it seems some people just can't handle the truth. We'll get into all of that as tonight's program unfolds. Let's get things started now.
Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
We're back, and I think the lighting is a little bit better now. Wow. Plus, the auto industry, the economy, trade wars, tariff wars, Trump on Air Force One. We have, oh my goodness, just so much in store for you tonight. So where should we begin? Whew, boy. Well, it seems, let's start with the ostriches, because that seems to be the thing that really has raised a lot of interest. The Universal Ostrich Farm out in British Columbia, protesters still there, and the owners of the farm, and I would say protest leaders are also still encouraging people to go out there. Last night we laid out a lot of different information you haven't heard anywhere else, that I think was maybe eye-opening for a lot of people, regarding the donations, regarding the way this research has been done out there, regarding the fact that prior to 2020, this was just a regular ostrich farm, which was used for food production. They used to send them to the slaughterhouse. They were then faced with the pandemic in 2020. The slaughterhouses shut down, and they had to change their business model. They got into research. They started to inject these birds with what the lead researcher that they work with out of Japan calls genetically engineered pseudovirus, which is basically a COVID-19 synthetic variant neutralized. So it's supposed to be, when injected, non-contagious, but they were injecting the birds with this stuff to induce an artificial response within the immune system to produce more antibodies, which were then present in these eggs, which they were selling to a research facility, or selling to this research facility in Quebec. That contract ended. They ended up working exclusively, I guess, with this Dr. Yasuhiro Sakamoto. I may be pronouncing the right name incorrectly a little bit. And then they've had some infections at this open air biolab that they're running out in British Columbia. Bird flu, and allegations that also, we didn't get into this last night, fined $10,000 for not reporting a bird flu outbreak. They say that they maybe didn't realize that the birds were infected. Anyway, they're facing that. And the donations continue to roll in. Tonight, they're appealing to the public, saying that their birds are healthy. They don't want them culled. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has won a court challenge saying they can proceed with the cull of these 400 ostriches. And the owners of the farm they've turned it into a protest, not just about the birds. I would say this is also about the authority of government. And tonight, the owner of the farm, one of the co-owners, Karen Esperson, apparently, we're told, has locked herself inside the pen with these birds. So this thing is shaping up to be, possibly, as I've indicated before, it's turning into something of a standoff. Now, Karen, because police are supposed to show up sometime between now and, I would say, Friday, with officials from the CFIA, and they have all these protesters out there, somewhere between 30 and 45 at last count, possibly more tonight. I don't know. Yet this all happening while the farm is actually under quarantine. You're not supposed to have people on site, but they do have people on site. You're supposed to have essential personnel. I don't know what justification they're using for that, other than to say that they're saying these people are not allowed to get too close to the birds. I don't know exactly how all that is playing out, but Karen is right in there tonight with the birds, as you can see from this video, which she recently posted. I'll run it. It's 2 minutes long. And it gets her side of the story out there. Let me share it with you. I have to click a bunch of buttons to get this up on the screen for you tonight. Yeah, and then at the end, what really blew people's minds is that the research being done with these antibodies, because the birds are also exposed to bird flu virus as well, to produce antibodies related to that. So you've got dual research going on with the same birds. And then what we discovered here at Maverick News is that this research is being applied to the production of masks, which a lot of people are concerned about, nutraceuticals, other products that have not gone through, as robust levels of scientific testing as a lot of other products. They're producing a hair growth formula using these antibodies. Again, no double-blind placebo studies or anything like that. Some of these products still not available in North America because they don't have FDA approval or Health Canada approval. And then the researcher, the Japanese scientist involved in all of this, listed on the World Economic Forum website, where his work is being highlighted, and the World Economic Forum is saying that they're very much promoting it, which is again something that I think is blowing some people's minds, because it seems like a lot of what's going on out there that people are being asked to come and support and protect kind of runs contrary to a lot of the things they've been concerned about since the pandemic. But people are making their own assessments and getting involved, and do as you wish. Here's Karen Esperson in there with these pets, as she calls them.
Hi everyone, this is Karen at the Ostrich Farm. The day came, we never thought we'd have this happen. If we ever needed anybody's help, it's today. I see all these guys behind me. See these beautiful, majestic birds. You see this? These are our pets. This is what CFIA says that they're going to come. They've been approved 1 to 4 days to come kill them. We've taken years to be able to pet these guys, walk amongst these guys. We love these guys.
Yeah,
they're all happy and healthy. If we don't stand for this,
they're eating
and we don't pull together, and we don't save
the incredible
all of
man
these
eating
beautiful,
ostriches,
happy, healthy animals,
then
what kind of world have we become? If I've ever asked for anything,
she's under attack.
We're asking for an SOS, and we need people to come to our farm today
to rescue her from the pen,
to stand up
from the man eating ostrich.
Do something.
They're eating
they
her.
Say they're coming.
Come and
in
help
1 to
her
4
now.
days. The jump's supposed to be ready for bodies.
Stop it. Stop attacking her.
You guys, please
help her.
If we've ever pleaded, we're asking now for everybody to be that one voice. We can make the change. We just have to do it together.
Eating ostriches.
We can't let them do this. Please come to the farm. 301 Langell Road. Come surround the farm. Don't let them do this to these beautiful animals.
Before it's too late, get her out. She may not survive until morning. It's just, I have to admit, my dog did chew my shoe. I can still wear it, but it's a little worn. Just love pecks, I guess. Just, yeah. So there's all that going on out there. We'll come back to all of this. And Johnny out of Toronto had some pretty harsh words for me overnight. I might address that later in the broadcast. The money's really rolling in, I'll tell you that. A lot more money overnight, thousands more in donations pouring in. And we laid out the total amount so far donated roughly last night on the broadcast. So approximately $250,000 in donations. And then once they cull those 400 ostriches, the farm will receive in compensation $3,000 per bird approximately is what is being published, and that should amount to about $1.2 million combined, plus whatever donations are taken in. How the donations will be distributed, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the money that's out there right now and on the table. And I should probably highlight as well, if I can find this, I believe I have it. Here we go. Yeah, this is an interview that I did with Karen a clip from it where she talks about the pending. Well, she did indicate that this is likely to turn into something of a standoff between protesters, farm owner, and with the farm owners against the authorities, against police and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, as they come in and try to affect the process of culling these 400 birds, which the Canadian Food Inspection Agency views as a potential threat to the poultry industry, to human health, because of the infection that was identified out there, the bird flu infection, which the farm owners dispute. But where is this going? Well, as you saw, she's still encouraging people to come out there, even though there's a quarantine order in effect out there. And protesters are also have been told that they expect police might end up supporting the protest instead of doing their jobs. They might just put down their badges. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that's not just highly unlikely. I think it's misleading, frankly. I think that the chances of that happening are zero. But here's what Katie said with regard to that, and to be fair, I'll just let her speak.
And we're not going down without hunkering down, and that's what we've already got a plan that we're going in with the birds. The birds know us, that's our family. So my business partner and I, we've already, no matter what, we're in with the birds. You can't be shooting these animals. There's no reason. And we would like to, if we can, turn around and have the police arrest everybody that's there for either conspiracy of breaking the Animal Health Act to kill a healthy animal, or to, if they do somehow get away with it, to have each one personally charged criminally.
So this is potentially going down a path toward a standoff of some kind.
Possibly, and if that standoff is, we have a huge following of supporters that want to be here for it and want to make sure that we all are one voice standing up to this.
Do you really think
how we make change?
Do you really think police would stand with you?
They do already. They do. They support us, but unfortunately, they have a job to do. And we right now tell them this might be the day you put your badge down, all of you, and say right from wrong. What's right and what's wrong? Do we kill these healthy animals because we're being bullied into it, and we're literally hurting our food source? Everybody says we're going to be short of food in so many years that we can't feed the world. Well, when we're killing millions of healthy chickens every day, yeah, you're right. We're the ones depleting our own food source. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, there is a reason for it. Because if they're exposed to bird flu and it gets into the food chain at all, people will become infected and people will die. And that's why. There is a reason. It's not no reason. There is a reason. You may not agree with the approach, and you may not think it's valid. You can have your opinion on it, but it's a reason, and it has been cited. It's not for no reason. They have a reason. There's bird flu out there, and it is transmissible to human beings, and people have died from it. And they're trying to prevent, as they have been working to prevent, another pandemic involving bird flu. They've been at it for years, using the stamping out policy, and accused of saying, well, it doesn't work because the bird flu is still present. But we haven't had a pandemic involving bird flu. So you can argue both ways. It's up to you, but it's not that there's no reason. There is a reason. So let's get some real balance here. That's the reason. And that's what we're here to do. I'm doing my job to make sure that you get all the information or as much information as I can provide with regard to this. Let's take a little break. We're going to come back. Lots more to unpack. We'll get into the politics and then we'll circle back and resume our discussion on the ostrich farm, the possible standoff that appears to be brewing out there. Stay with us.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Check the chat. That's dangerous. Well, hello, everybody. Hello. Raising wolves. It's not your business, Rick, what they do with the donations. Oh, I see. Oh, please stop, Rick. Bird flu made up by government to destroy all livestock, says Raising Wolves. Really? Where's your proof of that, Chris? The story is all across Canada and the U.S. Massive support. Yeah, because there's a narrative out there, Chris. Total government control happening. Are you out there, Chris? Are you going to, you don't have do you have a job? You can quit your job like they want you to and go out and support them? Did you donate? So it's just donate. Don't ask any questions. I see. $250,000 donated so far, but it's none of our business what they do with it. They say it's going for legal fees for the lawyers, but then if you read the terms of donation, they get to use it for operational costs. Whose business is it then, Chris, where the money goes? Don't you think that the people who donated have a right to know what they're donating to and why? Don't you think that the people who donated deserve to have full disclosure and transparency about what's really happening out there? Don't you think they deserve to know that these birds have been injected repeatedly with a genetically engineered pseudovirus derived from the data from the COVID-19 virus to conduct open research in an open air biolab, possibly without any government oversight? Aren't you concerned, Chris, about the Wuhan lab and the Winnipeg lab and what happened out there and the pandemic and the fact that something escaped somehow and then ended up in basically a worldwide lockdown? Does that not concern you? Just none of your business, Rick. Shut up. Just donate and don't ask questions. Keep the money flowing. You're worried about the World Economic Forum, right, Chris? But you're ignoring the connection that I showed you last night, the endorsement for the research that's being done by the WEF. Showed you right on their website. Do you care about that, Chris? Just shut up, Rick. You're supposed to ignore that. Yeah, Johnny. I know you want me to shut up too. My friend. Maybe we get into that now. I won't shut up. I'm doing my job. Doesn't make me popular. Doesn't get me the most views, doesn't get me the most clicks. Maybe you're doing your job too, John. With your messages to me. I will not shut up. I'm going to just continue to do my job because, I'm not here encouraging people to go or not go. I'm just providing information on both sides. And where there's absurdity, I call it out. You say I'm a backstabber. Why? Because I gave someone access to the platform, allowed them to have access to the soapbox to say their piece, and then continued to ask questions afterward. No, you're just supposed to shut up. See, that's not how it works, John. I'm not a backstabber. I'm a backstabber because that nice lady came on the program and then, quote, I made her look like a fool for 2 hours. Because why? I told the truth, shared information that none of these other live streamers will, not even the mainstream media, because they don't have the time to dig into it these days. So they just give you these minute 30 superficial reports, tug at the heartstrings because that's the narrative that's being played out. They haven't taken the time to dig at all. And these other streamers are in the bag because they're part of the network. And they know what the rules are. John, you don't believe in free speech at all. Quite the opposite. And I give you and Chris access to the platform to say your piece, even though sometimes, John, I know you lie. You like the lies. You bring the lies. Even in conversations I've had with you, where over the course of, I think the last conversation we had, we were on the phone for 2 hours, where you finally at the end acknowledged that you were wrong. But then you're right back in embracing the lie later because you're part of the problem, because you're part of it. There you are. You know what it is? Censorship. People think censorship comes from government. It doesn't always come from government. It comes from people like John. It comes from people like Chris. It's very fascistic. It's because censorship comes from enforcement of guardrails within especially political movements where you're not supposed to talk about certain things. You have sort of unwritten rules that everyone, especially in blogosphere land or podcaster land like this, you get to know what the rules are supposed to be. You're not supposed to deviate from those rules. You can talk about this and say that, but you're not allowed to say anything about that. You have to go along to get along, and the more you go along to get along, the more you get rewarded. And if you say one wrong thing, then you get cast out. But you see, I serve you, the people. That's who I serve. I'm not here because I'm part of a political party. or a political movement. I'm a rare bird these days. I serve you. I even serve John, and I even serve Chris. But there you are in the chat, night after night after night, and there you are on my phone, texting me, enforcing the guardrails of speech, John, trying to control my speech through a form of cancel culture. Posting that link last night to the other show in the middle of my show, within the chat of my show, our show, the Maverick news program. You weren't there to promote free speech. You weren't there to facilitate broader conversation about this. You were there again, really, truly trying to cancel me, engaging in a form of cancel culture. What he's really saying is, when he's doing that last night, and I let you, because I say, go listen to everybody. But that's not John, because as John is posting a link to another show, what he's really saying is, don't listen to Rick. Leave this place, leave his chat, leave his channel, leave your channel. Go listen to this other guy instead. He's on right now. That other guy, he's complying with the approved narrative on the Ostriches. And he's on over here. You shouldn't listen to Rick. Go listen to the other guy. That's what you're saying, John. So my question to you, John, is, did you post a link to the Maverick channel in the chat on the other channel to say, here's the alternative? You go listen to this guy over here and get more information, and then you'll know everything that you can know. Did you do that? No. Why? Because the other guy is in compliance with the approved narrative. Maybe it just makes you feel better to listen only to things you choose to believe. Maybe it's worse. Maybe you're part of the whole network. Maybe you're part of the enforcement team. Yeah, they come in. We've got them in there. You know what I'm talking about. You see it. The trolls, the digital brown shirts, who only come here to push speech compliance, only makes me more determined to uphold the principles of free speech and freedom here. I was not lying to people here last night. I was not spreading propaganda. I was presenting verifiable information, everything backed up with actual interviews with people or attribution, identifiable sources, not anonymous sources. An anonymous source says, no, none of that. Identified people. News releases, documentation. I gave people access to this channel, including you, John, and including you, Chris. Access to the soapbox here to share their views, their part of the story, all sides. I provided full context to the fullest extent possible. And I did not withhold information. You see, because it's quite often not what you're told, it's what you're not told. It's what they don't tell you. They can hurt you. These rules that I speak of, these guardrails, these rules are unwritten, but they are understood. They are insidious. They require self-censorship. That's what is being expected of me. This is why I've been attacked, and expectedly so, frankly. I knew it was coming. Comply, and you will be rewarded with accolades, endorsements from the faithful, cross-promotion between channels and streamers in the network, clicks, and yes, even money. Funneled to you through super chats and dark donations, even from people, organizations. I know how it works. Yeah, even sometimes foreign governments or NGOs operating in the shadows. I know. But rest assured, the donations will flow in. You don't know even the other streamers, you're not supposed to know always where the money is coming from, but it flows. And so too with these protests. It's the way it's done. It isn't explicit, it's hidden, but it's very real. And these live streamers, well, even if they're unwitting participants in this, they're like trained SEALs. They're being trained through positive reinforcement. It's like if you're familiar with Pavlov's dog, ring the bell, give the dog a treat, do that enough times, and all you need to do to make the dog salivate is ring the bell, and the dog salivates. It's an exercise in training. It's positive reinforcement. And that's what's going on with these streamers. That's what's expected of me. Ring that bell and Rick will salivate, but I don't, because I serve you, the people, not that farm, not a political group, not a bunch of people who are trying to promote something or send people to a give, send, go page. We may allow people to talk about a charity or something they donate to, but that's not what I'm here to do. That's not my mandate. And so this is what's going on. This is why you get massive support, because yes, you get this approved narrative, and then you get repetition, which in marketing equates to what they call frequency. A message repeated over and over and over again. It's an emotion-based message. You've personified these birds, which can kill you. These pets were pecking at Karen, eating her in the pen. But no, it's Sarah, right? They're naming the birds to give them personalities, to evoke, to get you emotionally attached and invested in this, Chris, so that you don't really think rationally. It's a self-perpetuating system. Censorship, control, in the end, it actually becomes a lie. And we all end up living it. Yes, a lie. This is what we've seen in authoritarian countries. Everybody knows that it's not really true, but you go along to get along. You don't really rock the boat because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. You don't need the government to pass some piece of legislation to bring that kind of censorship around. You just apply pressure. You send your digital trolls in. You intimidate by sending messages. You insult. You threaten excommunication from the group. But I came to a realization quite a long time ago when all of this really, kind of came to a head during the pandemic. And I realized all you got to do, Rick, to save your soul is just tell the truth. John, Chris, there's no freedom over where you are. It's the opposite of freedom, what you're engaging in. And in these Orwellian times, you've become a tool of the oppressor's oppression. And what's worse, you're oppressing not just me, which you're not going to do anyway, because I'm not going to shut up, but your friends, your community, the people in the chat, your Maverick community. You're oppressing yourself. Yes. You see, because this is an attack on our freedom, what you're doing, because it's designed to reshape our very reality by controlling what we are allowed to see, what we're allowed to hear, what we're allowed to say. Think about that. Through this method of information control, and I'm seeing it every day online with different stories, this ostrich story being one. Not allowed to ask real questions. Just promote it. Promote what they're doing. Don't ask questions. No, I will ask real questions. And I've given access to everybody that wants it to come on and talk about it. I presented as much as I can. But think about that. Through this method of information control, they're manipulating you. They're distorting your reality. Don't listen to Rick. Just go over there and listen to that guy. He's going to tell you the things that they want you to hear. They've got that. This is the story, not that one. Don't look at all that other information. You're being manipulated. They're distorting your reality. They're forcing you to agree that 2 + 2 equals whatever they say it equals. It might be 4 today, but sometimes it's 5, or sometimes it's 7. Whatever they say. Their science. Oh, they've got no reason for what they're doing. Yeah, there are reasons. They just don't want you to hear what those reasons are. Jordan Keeley goes to the legislature to speak about this, delivers a question, and then the video they post ends right there. You don't get the answer. There's a reason for that edit. They don't want you to know the other side of the story, not in any way, because they're distorting your reality, manipulating you. So yesterday you were against masks and mRNA vaccines. Today you're defending them. Like you're literally, this is what's been going on out there. Research with injections of, I showed you this scientist out in Japan injecting the birds with, I showed you exactly how he did it, what he's doing. And his information, not mine, I showed you, genetically engineered, his words, his description, genetically engineered pseudovirus, COVID-19. That's what they've been injecting into the birds repeatedly for like how many years? There's so much more to this story. Yesterday, you're all upset about it. You're concerned about it. Today, you're defending it. You're like to the point where some people are, I guess, going out and even like taking time off work, maybe they're being encouraged in that video last night. Don't worry about your boss. Just get out here, surround the farm. This is our one of our last opportunities to save humanity. Today, you're defending the very thing that yesterday you were opposed to. In 2025, environmentalists who used to put Teslas on pedestals now go to Tesla dealerships and set those electric cars on fire in protest. Today, everything's been flipped, and now these are not organic birds. So you see, Mavericks, there's a war on for your minds. This is a form of passive aggression that has become overt, and it is an attack on everything we hold dear in a free society. But I will not comply. Because on this matter, I must stand up. And I will. Because the cause here is freedom. And I serve you guys. Period. The people. John says I'm a backstabber. Because he wants me to shut up. No, John, I didn't stab Karen Esperson in the back. I gave Karen Esperson an opportunity over a long form interview to share her information. I would be a backstabber if I did not share the information I shared last night, because my job is to serve the people. And if I didn't share that information, I would be stabbing you guys in the back. That would make me a backstabber. So no, John, no, Chris, I will not comply. I won't be a good little boy and behave myself. This is an attack on free speech, an attack on our system, an attack on our government. You can take a variety of views on this, but that's what it is. And this is now an attack on me simply because I spoke truth to power. Whose power? Not the government's power, the power of the network, the power of the organizations involved in this. And there's power there, political power. You can see it. The power of the mob. This is aggression. When we allow an aggressor to reshape our reality, we become complicit in our own enslavement.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Well, before we get into the other stuff, we might as well stay on track with this. So, what I'll show you here, I noticed tonight that, well, this will be fairly easy actually to bring back up. I guess we're seeing animal rights groups are getting involved in this out in BC as well. And folks, I don't have an axe to grind. Okay, with these folks, I don't. Well, here, let's. Here's a live feed right now. I have no idea what they're going to say, but we'll put it up because I'm a pretty fair-minded guy. I don't have an agenda beyond serving you guys. So let's listen to what they have to say.
Numbers are just going up, and it's because you're interested in you. No, well, yeah, you might be now, brother. So
I don't do this because of to get famous.
I get it, brother. I get it, and thank you for
have a
coming.
big following, so,
Thank you for coming. I love you, man. Appreciate it. The numbers are starting to flow in. Boy, the information's flowing out. You guys are kicking ass. Let me just tell you. The world is waking up. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency's X account has now disabled all commenting. Yeah, we did that. Phoning doesn't work because all their lines are done, so that doesn't work. So you might want to email. Email and letters is good. I don't know. It would be interesting if I don't know, if I was kind of just driving around somewhere and I happened to find somebody else that wanted to drive around somewhere and kind of headed to a place that had something to do with, I don't know, food inspection agencies or something. A few people out there hold some friendly signs, tell them how much we love them and how much they need to do the right thing. I think that wouldn't be so bad. The thing I want to emphasize here, and it's been made very, very clear by the family who's right over there, this is a loving and peaceful event. Your weapons aren't welcome. Your violent tendencies or otherwise is not welcome. This is a very serious thing. We take it very seriously, and but there's a lot of love here, you know. People give a crap, and they're doing things for other people, and this is some of the best times of my life. I gotta be honest. To be able to spend an entire month with these incredible human beings in this pristine environment, to be having to face the whatever is coming. It might not be it's weird, right? Like, it's exciting, but at the same token, it's really like you can feel your nerves jangling underneath because you know that there's going to be violence perpetrated upon us. As peaceful protesters, we will do our very best to, just make it difficult. That's basically the whole idea. You got to slow them down and then just catch them doing dumb stuff. And that's what I'm here for. I want to catch them doing all the dumb stuff. And we got other people who can catch them doing the dumb stuff. And we are actually I'm kind of impressed with how we got this thing going on right now. Yeah, it's supposed to happen this week. And we got, I don't know what our numbers are now, but I'm guessing over 100 people. And we're out in the middle of nowhere. So thank you. It's working. Keep going. Keep doing the thing. You can go to saveourostriches.com if you want more information. They can give you all the links and stuff like that. I know there's a one-click letter out there that you can do where you can send the emails off and all that stuff. But folks, I think that we need to understand that we are the change. Each one of us, you watching this right now, are just as important as me talking with you right now, because you can take the initiative and do shit. Okay, you don't have to wait for somebody else. In the comments, I really appreciate when people comment, but I prefer if they didn't comment and say, you should do this, you should do that. No, I shouldn't, but somebody suggesting it should, because if you have the wherewithal to know it should be done, take the next step and do some action about it, and all of a sudden it gets done. Dude, it doesn't take, dude and dudettes, it doesn't take as much as you might think to influence. We're dealing with a bunch of cowards. These, okay, there's no harm. I want you to be very, very clear. There will be no harm coming to any CFI agents. Oh, another thing, let me just clarify. If you're out there and then you're going, oh, this guy deserves to get thrown off a ditch or whatever, don't do that. It doesn't help anything. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to commit a crime so that you can fix the crime? It don't make no sense. Okay? We need to share information, absolutely, but make sure it's accurate and try, if you can, to make sure it's loving and kind, because we're not, you know, I get there's a lot of anger out there, but we got to calm that down and know that we've got a bigger mission here. Okay, we got to save our country. We got to save our farmers. Okay. Bro, you sell drugs for a living? No, I don't. Hilarious. Folks, you know what's funny? People don't understand each other, and that's okay. I'm not gonna judge somebody for not understanding me, and because I sure as hell don't understand them. I don't even know if I understand me sometimes. But I'm doing something that I love right now, and I know that it matters, and I know that it's making a difference. And I believe it only takes one person. Oh, look at them all running. Hold on. That must have been them getting fed. Yeah, anyway. Okay, I'm gonna go. I didn't finish my thought, did I? No? I must sell drugs for a living. Get more creative, man. You know, why not ask me a question I can't answer? That's how, you know what? That's how you do it. That's how you stump somebody. You don't go, you go, so what do you think about this? And if somebody doesn't have an accurate point of view, it'll become very clear in their comments. Okay? No, little chirping, oh, you suck. No, you suck. It doesn't work. Okay, we got to come together. We got to get strong. Summer's coming. The weather's beautiful. You should come down to Edgewood, BC. Okay? Well, Zach Kerr, my son, I love you. It's good to see you. We are at 301 Langill Road. 301 Langill Road. That's Langille Road in Edgewood, British Columbia. There are many, many people that are coming down for we don't know what, but they're coming, and you should come too. Okay? I'm going to go. See ya.
Coming for he doesn't know what, but they've got a plan, and I don't know. Do as you will. But I wouldn't expect that the cops are going to turn in their badges, lay them down on the ground, and be on your side. And just a reminder that that place is under quarantine. I'm not supposed to be in there. And you might want to check with a lawyer before you head on down, because I'm not one. But I can kind of see where this is going. And I did have some questions for Jim Kerr, and I did send him a message days ago asking if he could appear on the program. And though it looks like he says that he wants to be asked some questions, didn't respond.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, so we also have this. Jim Kerr's been on this program before, quite a long time ago, but not quite a while. Didn't respond to my request, though, which was, to say the least, disappointing. And here's this, also being posted. Says, looks like some animal rights groups are getting involved. This is from Jim Kerr's Facebook page. Angels Animal Rescue. This is a national emergency. The verdict on the ostrich farm is to cull 400 birds within 1 to 4 days. They denied all 26 pages in court. It will set a precedent for all Canadian farms and eventually pets. Well, no. Well, it reinforces what is already in place. If they had ruled against the CFIA, it would have usurped the federal agency's authority in this area, and that would have been precedent setting. And that is one of the main reasons they can't allow it to happen, because then the CFIA would have no power. Because every time something were to happen, this case would have then been cited as a precedent saying, I don't want you coming in here affecting your government policy of whatever it is to deal with whatever problem it might be at the time. And it would create a situation, honestly, to some degree of chaos, where everyone would be allowed to take their own approach to matters of national security and health security, public health, agricultural food supply security, saying, I don't want to do what the government wants to do. I'm going to do my own thing. And every farmer would then be able to cite a case where the federal government's authority had been neutered, taken away. And then, no, we're not listening to you. Look at this case over here. This is why. It's not just an issue at this point of whether the birds are healthy or not. It's about who has authority. Does the government actually have authority? That's what that court case was about. That's why everything was centered around when the court order was issued and the CFIA had the authority to go in to cull the birds. The question before the court was the CFIA acting within its authority and reasonably, and I'm not probably using exactly the right legal language, but were they acting properly on the day that they went there to execute those orders? That's what the question was before the court, and that's what the question should be. That's what it has to be, because that's the law. This is about the rule of law and upholding the rule of law, whether you like it or not. I'm just giving you the legal basis for where this ruling comes from and why. And then there's just this larger question in play. It's not just about what's going on this farm alone. There's a much bigger picture to look at. So these animal rights groups, I guess, are getting involved now. Which then made me think, okay, where's all this going? And again, it brings to me some degree of irony, maybe even hypocrisy in play here, because I just think back over the last number of years as we've seen the rise of what some would say the conservative movement or the freedom movement. I won't even get into the political labels. The MAGA movement, all of these things. And I would just say this is just going to show, I think, how people are being manipulated psychologically here. So that you end up supporting things that you used to oppose in a very weird way. So here's what's going on with animal rights groups. We saw Karen in there with the man-eating ostriches, which was, I think, kind of funny. But yeah, these things can actually kill you. So she may not have any clothes on at this point because they may have eaten everything she was wearing. They may start to rip the flesh off her bones any moment. So yeah, if you're going, I would say first priority, rescue Karen from inside the pen, where she has, I guess, locked herself in the pen tonight in case the CFIA shows up, and she ain't going anywhere. This is like chaining yourself to a lamppost or gluing yourself to the pavement as part of a protest in the streets so police can't take you away, or putting crazy glue on your hand and then, slapping it on a painting in an art gallery, some classic, masterwork or something, put your hand on it, gluing your hand to, this is a form of protest. Here's, where, and then the question is, where does it end? You're worried about the slaughter of ostriches, which until 2020, they were sending them to the slaughterhouse on a regular basis because they were for food. Now suddenly they're pets. And they're personifying them in exactly the same way that PETA is personifying chickens. because you're not supposed to eat chickens either. The animal rights groups, who apparently are now getting involved in this, if they want to save the ostriches, they also want to save the chickens. Did you know that chickens purr? Hang on.
You like your neck rubs? And your head rubs?
Oh, what a cute little chicken.
Our together time.
Yeah.
You like your neck rubs?
What a cute chicken. It's real. So I get it. Nobody, the thing about life is that we get life from death. Every time you eat, you're killing something. A plant, an animal if you're eating meat, a fish, something. In order to live, something must die. It's the cycle of life, the circle of life. And, sometimes humans get eaten too by other creatures. Maybe even ostriches. Or maybe by other humans. That's happened in the past too. Here's a PETA protest of a human being served up on a platter in the middle of a street. I have to say, she looks kind of appetizing with that, what appears to be fake chocolate. Maybe it's real chocolate, just artistically sprinkled on her legs and her thighs and her arm. So this is where you're at tonight, folks. Now you're hanging out with the PETA people. And PETA, they're all about the ostriches too. Yes, they are. And I get it. But it's horrific to think about these poor ostriches or any of these animals in any abattoir where any kind of animal is killed for food or for their skin or for whatever. This is what PETA is trying to discourage the consumption of ostriches. Oh, I should warn you that, this is an abattoir. So if you're sensitive to viewer discretion advised, because these ostriches were killed. They're livestock, and then they use not only for the meat, but they also use the skin. They use as much of the ostrich as they can get in order to maximize the use of all the things from the ostrich for maximum profit even, and so that nothing goes to waste. So they make handbags out of ostrich skin. PETA doesn't like that. A lot of people don't. Bred at factory farms. And the poor chicks never met their parents. Although Dr. Ostrich over in Japan said the other night that they're bird brains and they can't remember one moment from the next, about as intelligent as a goldfish. They were tagged like merchandise because they're livestock and killed just after their first birthday. And they bring them in. And again, you may not want to watch this. It's hard to look at, but this is the reality of life. Electrically stunned. And a lot of them slip, they say, yeah, okay. And then they're slaughtered. I won't make you watch the rest. It may be a little too much for some people to see, but that's what goes on every single day. Millions and millions of chickens, cows, pigs, goats. In some countries, dogs. People eat dogs. RFK Jr. accused of eating a dog. He says it was a goat. You can decide, since truth seems to be subjective these days. But you need to understand that this is reality. This is what's going on out there every day. They're abattoirs. You go to the supermarket, it doesn't seem to bother you when you walk down the meat aisle and you pick up a pound of bacon. Where do you think it came from? If you're a city slicker, maybe you just think that the milk comes from the supermarket. No, it comes from cows. And so does your burger at Mickey D's. And farmers who run actual businesses, I don't know, maybe they name their animals, maybe they don't. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they do send them to the abattoir every day, and then you get to eat. And a lot of animal rights activists get bent out of shape because they don't like to see things like ostrich feathers used for adornment for fashion shows or events, especially involving the elites. Or they're showing this video again. They're just making a point of where these ostrich feathers come from. And they come from here. And then they're showing this video again as part of this. But the thing is, you have to remember that the ostriches were sold for meat so people could eat and live. That's what the meat is for. And then you have the feathers anyway, so they use them for other things. Now, you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. And I'm not saying that I've never eaten an ostrich. I'm not inclined to. I don't really have any desire to. I don't think I really want to. So I'm not contributing to the ostrich slaughter. But if you're alive, it's because something has died and probably has come from a farm. And I think just about everybody in the audience has probably eaten at KFC at some point. And then the question is, where does this, where does it ultimately lead? Where does it end? You're on it's some of this stuff is very difficult. Do I want to see like a tiger shot by a hunter? No. Do I want to see any animal die? No. Do I want to witness it? Not really. No. But when I was a kid, my father was a member at a fishing game club. He was actually the president for a couple of years, and they had ducks. And they had so many ducks at this fishing game club that they had too many. And so one year they made some of the ducks available to the members for a price. You could buy a duck and to take it home and you could have it for food instead of going duck hunting, right? So they were kind of domesticated. They kept them there, but they in pens and things, and that they had to get rid of some of them. So I went over, and my dad was there to basically chop their heads off so that the ducks could be prepared and then given to some of the members who paid to get these things so they could have a duck dinner. And so I was there. I was watching him chop their heads off in a humane way. But as a little kid watching this, that was a wake-up call, I'll tell you. That's reality. And when I was a kid, I raised pigeons. And I learned a lesson from my dad because as I had these pet pigeons, homing pigeons, right? And show pigeons. When I first got them, one of them died. And I was distraught. And I had all the pigeons named, of course. They were pets. And so I got very, very upset. And I was just very young. And I cried. And my dad, he's like, if you're going to cry every time one of these damn birds dies, we're just going to get rid of them. And then I realized, they're birds, they're pigeons. And sometimes they will get sick and sometimes they will die. And that's something you have to deal with. And you got to get a grip on it. It's the same thing with a dog. A dog, though, I mean, is my dog. It is a pet, and it's my friend, my companion. When my dogs have died, of course, I'm distraught because I'm so attached to it. But it's a dog. Animals don't really have rights, like it or not. These animal rights groups would have you believe otherwise. They want them to have rights, but they don't have rights. People have rights. People come first. What we do is we limit the rights of people through laws in order to make sure that humans aren't cruel to animals, because we as a society collectively have decided that that's not right. So we have laws, but the laws are there to set limits, just like limits on speech, that we as a society collectively agree to and endorse and facilitate every day when we participate in the system. That's what goes on with regard to animal rights in a realistic way. It isn't that these animals have rights per se. It's that if you cross the line, there are values that we as a society hold dear. And we're saying cruelty to animals is off limits. And if you act in this way or you torture an animal, you'll be held accountable. Not because the animal has rights, but because we as a society are saying that cruelty is unacceptable. It's against the law. And the law is there to set the limit on your rights, every law. Not to suspend your rights, but to impose reasonable limits. And it's unreasonable to go around torturing an animal. So even at an abattoir, these animals have to be treated in a humane way. As horrific as it may seem to watch these things happen, that is reality. Some people just choose to ignore it or deny it, or maybe even exploit it after they distort it in order to achieve a political goal. And even as these protesters are out there, I mean, I see the guy with the shirt there with the hammer and sickle on his shirt. So I wonder what his political affiliation is. Just wondering, not that I have anything against anybody who's on the far, far extreme left, if you want to characterize it in that way. But, you know, these animal rights activists who now I guess are getting involved in the protest, as Jim Kerr says. What do they stand for? No ostrich feathers, don't eat meat, don't have a leather handbag, don't have a handbag made out of the skin of an ostrich, okay? So you're not allowed to. They also don't want any, I guess, you know, everybody gets upset because they're like, the government wants to get rid of cows because they say they fart and burp too much. And so everybody was defending the, you know, eating meat and eating at McED's. But PETA is also against, these animal rights groups are also against anybody eating beef. They don't want you eating any meat. Here we go. So they post stuff like this to deter you from eating beef. And this may be for some people to see, but this is reality. This is what happens with livestock. And if you're running a farm, you have livestock. If you're naming your livestock, you might not be running a real farm. Okay, and these are all things designed to deter you from eating meat or getting involved in anything. But, you know, I learned a long time ago in media that too much media will make you neurotic. It'll drive you loopy because you get conflicting messages about everything. You know, they'll tell you to do one thing or not to do something. But then if you do the opposite thing, that's not right either. They leave you with no real good option, leaving you feel, I guess, in some cases, even guilty for eating and surviving and living. Sorry for breathing. Sorry for inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. My bad for contributing to global warming. It just goes on and on. Here's so you're not supposed to drink milk either, right? Because according to the animal rights activists, here's what PETA is saying now about milk. And there are other animal rights groups too. And I'm not saying that PETA is directly involved in the protest out there, but we're just hearing that animal rights groups are getting involved. So I'm like, okay, well, this is an animal rights issue out in BC. That's how it's being framed. And just let's put it into context and remember what everybody has been upset about over a number of years. Every time you choose a dairy, a calf is stolen from their mom. Make a kinder brew. This is national TV. This is an old post. Switch to plant milk. So PETA wants you to switch to plant milk. But of course, the animal rights groups are, generally speaking, tied in with what Donald Trump would characterize as the radical environmental wackos or extremists. Rush Limbaugh used to call them wackos. I think Mr. Trump calls them extremists. So they want you to switch to plant-based milks, right? So here's almond milk. The problem with almond milk is that we're told, if you're supposed to switch to it, that it is actually not healthy, not good for the environment, because it takes too much land and consumes too much water. It's environmentally unsustainable, they say, the environmental groups who are loosely tied in with these animal rights activist groups. And so they're telling you to drink plant-based milk, but if you go to get the almond milk, we're hearing that plant-based milk, such as almond milk or oat milk, with a health halo, were once touted as a low-calorie, low-fat alternative, but studies have indicated they are nutritionally inferior to the stuff from cows, essentially a highly processed product. Now experts are raising concerns based on research about their effect on raising blood sugar levels and cancer-causing ingredients, such as emulsifiers that have been linked to colon cancer. True, untrue? I don't know. I've had almond milk and soy milk, and I've had real milk. It is what it is. But you're being told, don't drink milk, drink this. Then you're being told, don't drink that. It's not healthy. So what does it leave you? What options? Maybe none. And everybody's on about gun rights, right? Gun rights. The freedom groups. I want my guns. Why? Well, because I want to go hunting. Yeah, okay. So you don't want the ostriches killed, but you want everybody to have their freedom to get their guns and go hunting. And hang on here. Why will this thing not pause? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with the video. Let me see if I can. There we go. Now it's functioning properly. Okay, so back in, I think this was 2019, the Trump administration expanded hunting rights. And it's, I'm just going to run this. This is what Trump was doing to, and this is not Trump, this is Secretary David Bernhardt at the time, back in 2019. kicking off the hunting and fishing season. Animal rights versus gun rights. What side you on? What are you really protesting?
Hi, I'm David Bernhardt, Secretary of the Interior. It's an exciting time at the Department of the Interior and across the country. Before the start of this year's hunting season, we finalized the most expansive and meaningful regulatory changes in recent history, increasing public access for fishing and hunting on public lands by 1.4 million acres nationwide. 77 national wildlife refuges and 15 national fish hatcheries managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will open or expand areas and allow for new game species to be hunted and fished for the first time. We've also removed or revised 5,000 regulations that were overly complicated or inconsistent with state guidelines. The goal of the Trump administration has been to recruit, retain, and reactivate sportsmen and sportswomen to further our conservation efforts.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's about big business. Hunting and fishing is big business because of all the sporting goods that are sold. And they talk about it as conservation, which means they're opening up more space so you can kill more animals and catch more fish and kill the fish so you can take them home and eat them. Do you want me to show you a video of ducks getting shot? No, it's all right. I won't. I know some people get upset. If I show you Donald or Bambi getting blasted, I'm just saying that emotions are powerful things and they are used to manipulate you. Yeah. Not only are you not supposed to eat the animals, you're not even supposed to ride them. I guess that's why you don't see animals at the circuses anymore, right? You don't these amusement parks or facilities like Marine Land, they're all being kind of shut down because of animal rights groups. And here's PETA again saying, don't ride an elephant. And then they show an elephant with chains on it. Don't eat them, don't ride them, don't touch them, don't domesticate them, don't do anything with them, really. Just they're supposed to be left out in the wild. And you can have that view. I'm just saying. Is that where you're at with the ostriches? What about not only are they upset with the industry because they kill the animals and let us eat them, apparently the poultry industry is sexist. Didn't realize this. Didn't realize it. But here it is. This is the egg industry, see? So they say that in the egg industry, male chicks are killed the day they hatch just because they can't lay eggs. Millions are thrown into grinders or suffocated in trash bags, alive, until they're dead. And all of this happens so people can eat eggs. No baby deserves this. Please don't support this cruelty. Go vegan. I don't know if this is even true. I don't know. Are they actually killed? They probably are. Maybe. I don't know. Because then you got roosters. They don't need the roosters. So is that how they kill them? Really? They just throw them into grinders? I don't know. I could do more research. I only have so much time in the day. Could be. What else do they do? Oh, they're against experimentation on rabbits. They don't want you to experiment on animals. And rabbits are cute. There are a lot of rabbits in my neighborhood. This little bunny here, he's just a little white guy. There you go. We've shaved off some of his fur. And so out at the farm in British Columbia, what have they been doing? They've been experimenting on the ostriches for the past 5 years, injecting them over and over and over and over and over and over again with the COVID antigen and also the bird flu antigen. So I guess I don't know what that does to their immune systems over a long period of time. CFIA is certainly concerned about it. Yeah, and they experiment on mice too, and they don't want you doing that. And what they're also saying is that when you're the animal rights groups, we're being told when you set a trap for a mouse, don't use the kind that kill the mice. You're supposed to live trap the mouse and then take it someplace and set it free. Rodents. They spread disease, by the way. And I confess, I killed a couple of mice over the past couple of days because with all the recycling that goes on, the recycling bins attract mice. So I set traps and I kill them dead. Because if I don't, they will populate over and overrun the backyard and my house. So I keep them in check by killing them, and they populate like crazy. So yeah, I admit I killed a couple of Mickeys. I did. Sorry. Got to do what you got to do. Otherwise, they're going to get in the house. They're going to spread diseases. That's rodents. And I don't want rats around here, so I don't let it get out of hand. But because of all the recycling, I knew a guy who owned a pest control company. And he predicted years ago that we're going to see the rise of more disease because they started to ban a lot of pesticides, the really effective stuff, because of possible effects on human beings, health effects. But he said, and I did stories on this probably 10 years ago. He said that over time, in the very near future, you're going to see a lot more disease, a lot worse, a lot of negative health implications on the disease side because of rodents and insects, pests, the return of a lot of diseases that we've kind of eradicated or had really held in check for a long time. Although the trade-off is that maybe you're getting less cancer or whatever because of, because we've stopped using some of these more toxic chemicals like DDT. Just other issues that come from all of this stuff. And we have seen, I think, more diseases kind of resurface, haven't we, in the last probably 5 years. But all this stuff makes you neurotic. And some of it, I don't know. To me, it gets crazy. Don't kill the ostriches. Don't kill the chickens. Don't eat beef. Don't kill the mice. Don't hurt the mice. And and then we're told on the one hand, we got to eat the bugs. And I'm told, I just heard, and I have to confirm this, that that cricket processing facility in London that we told you about, I'm told that went out of business. I just heard that today. I'm going to check that even now. That it went bankrupt, even though they received all this. Yeah, here it is. I've got it. Went into receivership just within the last day or so. Let me see. Aspire Foods. So we were told, eat the crickets. Here we go. I've got it here. Bring it up. Oh, no, not that one. This one. This one, Rick. Aspire Foods. Oh, it's a real thing. I know some people think it's a conspiracy theory where they, you know, it's not real. They don't really want you to eat crickets. So they've been trying, but here it is. Aspire Foods reportedly owing $41.5 million has been placed into receivership, a step toward bankruptcy. It received $8.5 million in federal government support in 2022. This is being reported by the London Free Press in London, Ontario, Canada. The plant, which now employs about 50, is still running as it searches for either a buyer or new financing, said Kapil Lakoitia, chief executive of the London Economic Development Corporation. Quote, "It's unfortunate, but there are other options being pursued," he said. "There were a lot of promising early signs, but it's not uncommon for early stage businesses to face issues when dealing with new products and new technology." Yeah, maybe because people don't want to eat the bugs. David Rosenberg, Aspire's chief executive, declined comment Tuesday. Chief operator Gabe Mott could not be reached for comment. Aspire was placed into receivership recently after an application from Farm Credit Canada in Ontario Superior Court. The application said FCC was seeking $22 million in immediate payment, but the website insolvencyinsider.ca stated the total debt is $41.5 million. Sylvain Charlebois, a food industry analyst, said the plant's financial woes are a result of Aspire marketing crickets to humans instead of as a livestock feed fertilizer or as a pet food additive. Yeah, no kidding. Who wants to eat the bugs? Not moi. And I'm sure PETA doesn't want you to either. Goes on here where Charlebois says, I think it boils down to bad management. There's a tremendous potential for that plant, but it's not about feeding people. Exactly. There are opportunities, but it has suffered from bad PR. Yeah. I don't even want to feed the bugs to my dog. I will not. I'm not going to feed my dog the crickets, as Klaus Schwab would like us to. I'm going to get into Klaus Schwab and the investigation regarding him, World Economic Forum, too. I've got that coming up. So don't go away. You're not going to want to miss it. But we shouldn't eat the bugs anyway, right? Because if you're an animal rights activist, if you're an animal lover, if you don't want those ostriches culled, if you don't want chickens eaten, you don't want to eat the beef, you don't want anything killed. No death, and all death. Here we are. This is Emma Chamberlain, whoever she is. Well, who is she? She's a bug rights activist. And she does not kill the bugs, ever. She traps them alive and lets them go free. Born free.
Bug catcher. I actually use mine all the time. I literally use mine all the time.
That's with a cat. And it's a trend-setting creator showing she cares for all animals, including bugs.
You don't need to use the cup in the piece of paper anymore to catch the bug and put it outside. There are bug catchers that make it so easy.
Yeah, what's wrong with you guys? Look, even mosquitoes, just catch those mosquitoes and let them go after. Catch and release. Donald Trump won't like it. He'd like to deport them and put them on a plane to El Salvador. But you don't have to. You can just catch them and then let them go in your neighbor's yard, especially if you've got a neighbor you don't like.
And they are worth it, okay? Because you're saving a little bug's life. It's incredible.
Yeah. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it? Save the bugs. I step on them. And they go, or sometimes they go, it depends. June bugs are going to be out. They're actually just starting now. When you step on those suckers, man, oh, they make one heck of a noise. And I don't really feel bad because they're pretty dang ugly and prehistoric looking. I don't really like them. Don't like them at all, to be honest. So yeah, they creep me out. So I step on them. they live underground and then they come out and fly around. And they go crunch in the night when you step on them. And I do not eat them. But my dog does. Cosmo eats the bugs. And I don't think it's wise. I tell him, Cosmo, you're a dog. You should not be eating the bugs. And he does not listen to me. So they're experimenting on the ostriches. Some people are okay with that. I guess you're all okay with it. Maybe not everybody. I don't know. And Elon Musk experiments on monkeys. He's everybody's favorite tech oligarch because of Neuralink, right? And 2 points of view on this. Elon says these monkeys, he says that no monkey has ever died because of Neuralink testing. He says that these monkeys, any monkey that has died was a monkey that was being used as a test subject for Neuralink to develop the technology to basically jack a monkey's brain into the matrix so they can play Pong. But he says that the only monkeys that ever died were monkeys that were terminally ill anyway with some sort of a disease, and they died from the terminal disease, not from being connected to the matrix through the jacking process of Neuralink.
This is Pager. He's a 9-year-old macaque who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. If you look carefully, you can see that the fur on his head hasn't quite fully grown back yet.
Yep, playing video games, just using its mind. Bluetooth connection, basically.
He's focused, and he's playing entirely of his own volition. It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical signals from the brain. First, we calibrate the decoder by recording neural activity as Pager uses the joystick to move a cursor to targets presented on the screen. As he's playing this game, we are wirelessly streaming, in real time, the firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce. After only a few minutes of calibration, we can use the output from the decoder to move the cursor instead of the joystick. Pager still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity.
So Neuralink aims at neurological conditions, what Musk has described as a Fitbit in your skull. Who wants to sign up?
It's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
Our goal is to enable a person with paralysis to use a computer or phone with their brain activity alone. Because they wouldn't be able to move a joystick, they would calibrate the decoder by imagining hand movements to targets. Great game, Pager. And what better reward for a monkey than a banana?
Yeah, so Musk says that his monkeys are super happy and claims that they have like the most humane animal facilities anywhere. I've got a clip of him here, I believe, talking about the way they treat their animals. Yeah, it's right here. Let's see here. Yep, he says no monkeys have actually died because of being connected to Neuralink. Others disagree, but or say it's not true. You can assess for yourself.
From that, and how excited or scary does that seem to be? And we read these headlines, obviously, about monkeys who died, as you know. What should we think about that?
Yeah, actually, this is the USDA inspector who came by the Neuralink facilities literally said in her entire career she has never seen a better animal care facility. We are the nicest to animals that you could possibly be, even to the rats and mice, even though they did the plague and everything. It is like monkey paradise. The thing that gets conflated is that there were some terminal monkeys where, this is actually several years ago, where the monkeys were about to die. And we're like, okay, we've got an experimental device. It's the kind of thing we should only put on a monkey that's about to die. And then, now the monkey died, but it didn't die because of the Neuralink. It died because it was, had a terminal case of cancer or something like that. So Neuralink has never caused the death of a monkey. It's the best, unless they're hiding something from me, it has never caused the death of a monkey. And in fact, we've now had monkeys with Neuralink implants for like 2-3 years, and they're doing great. So, and we've even replaced the Neuralink twice, and we're getting ready to do the first implants hopefully in a few months. The early implementations of Neuralink, I think, are unequivocally good. Speaking of the double-edged sword, I think these early implementations are single-edged sword, because the first implementations will be to enable people who have lost the brain-body connection to be able to operate a computer or a phone faster than someone who has hands that work. So you can imagine if Stephen Hawking could communicate faster than someone who had full body functionality, how incredible that would be. Well, that's what this device will do. And we should have proof of that in a human, hopefully in a few months. It already works in monkeys and works quite well with monkeys that can play video games just by thinking. So, and the next application after the sort of those, dealing with tetraplegics and quadriplegics is going to be vision. Vision is the next thing. So it's like if somebody has lost both eyes or the optic nerve has failed, basically where they have no possibility of having sort of some ocular correction, that will be the next thing for Neuralink, is a direct vision interface. And in fact, then you could be like Geordi LaForge from Star Trek. You could see in like any frequency, actually. You could see in radar if you want.
Yeah. So that's what animal research gets you. A lot of people don't like any research done on animals. I would say whatever you're doing, it should be done in some sort of within ethical guidelines. And if you're dealing with viruses, you better make sure it's done safely with proper biosecurity measures in place. And as I say, some people disagree with or have a completely different view of what's going on in those Neuralink labs. Here's a headline from the Daily Mail. Again, to offer balance, Elon Musk's Neuralink has been mutilating and killing monkeys. Physician group details how the firm performed gruesome experiments on animals ahead of the billionaire's show and tell. That was November 30th, 2022, which we're highlighting there. And when that went down, we brought you that news conference right here on Maverick News, hitting the rewind button as we continue to cover this issue out at the Universal Ostrich Farm in British Columbia, which is raising all these issues in a way, again, of animal rights, property rights, government overreach, authority of the CFIA, all of these things. And those ostriches, man, they are powerful. They are fast. Oh, baby, can they move? And as I say, Karen, locked in that pen, get out there. You might want to make it a priority to save her, because those ostriches are so fast, so powerful, they could kill her. They can kill somebody. I'm not saying they will. They were trying to eat her alive, obviously, by pecking and eating her clothing. That was crazy. 45 miles per hour they can run, and in a single stride, they can cover 5 meters. That's how powerful they are. Dr. Ostrich, Dr. Yasiro Tsukamoto, who's working with the ostrich farm on all this research, who developed the synthetic, genetically engineered pseudo COVID virus that the ostriches have been injected with over and over and over again over the past 5 years to artificially induce the production of antibodies in their bloodstreams. Had his leg broken by one of the ostriches in his care over in Japan. Talked about it in that video we showed you last night. So, yeah, my dog didn't break my leg. He did chew my shoe a little bit. But that's because he's really smart. And when it's time to go for our walks, he goes, or when he tells me it's time, he goes and gets my shoes. And he knows exactly which shoes to get because I have multiple pairs. I have like 3 pairs of shoes. And I'll tell him which ones I want, and he goes to get me the right shoes and the matching shoes. It's true. Very smart. Not all animals are that smart. Ostriches are not that smart. So that's why I get more attached to my dog than I ever did to my pigeons. Pigeons, not that smart. They do behave instinctually. And that's why homing pigeons come back. And did you know that if you have a male pigeon and it mates with a female pigeon, and the hen lays 2 eggs, and as soon as those eggs are laid, you can let that male pigeon out. It won't go away. Yeah. Because they mate, they bond. And then that pigeon, the male pigeon, I did it when I was a kid. You just let that male pigeon out of the coop and he'll fly around the house, but he won't go very far. And he'll come back and he'll go back in the coop because he's protective of the hen and the eggs. That's his job. It's true. So do I want to see birds slaughtered? I do. I have eaten fried chicken this week. But I see the personalities. I get the attachment. I do. And I see the neurotic, the neurosis, the craziness that just gets injected into people's minds over all of this, you know? Like, how far do you go? Do you just trap the bugs and let them go? But it extends to like everything. Water. This is something I learned. I realized in my early days covering news as a general assignment reporter. Media will drive you crazy if you pay too much attention to it. Even back in those days, in like the late 80s, early 90s. Because if you watch the news, they'll tell you on the one hand, drink a lot of water. Okay. And then I'll show you what they do after that. So here's a post. Oh, this, I've only got the image up, but you go to government websites or health websites. This is from actually WebMD, and they'll tell you that you're supposed to drink like a minimum of 8 glasses of water a day to stay healthy. Just drink a lot of water. You have to stay hydrated. I know that there have been whole campaigns about that to get you to drink enough water because, you know, human beings are mostly water. And here's some advice from a professional wrestler on that, because this kind of advice comes from a lot of health gurus and people selling you health advice or just sharing it even through podcasts and so on. A very simple thing. And I guess if you can't eat beef and you can't eat chicken and you can't eat the bugs and you because you got to keep and you can't eat anything alive, what can you do? Maybe you can just live on water.
Now that the season is underway, hydration is going to be critical. Make sure you're drinking a gallon of water every day. Every time you pass by a water fountain, you should be taking water. You know, okay, now when you're talking about cutting the water weight, that shouldn't happen until 2 days before the wrestling match, if you're cutting weight. Okay, that should never happen on Monday, Tuesday. Or if you have a match on Friday, that should not be Monday and Tuesday. There should not be any water restriction intake at all, not even close. And you see a lot of people make this mistake because they get scared, and it's really because they don't know what they're doing with managing their weight. But if your water intake is out, your mindset is going to be bad, your workouts are going to be worse. It all ties together. We have to be approaching this holistically. So it's got to be our mind, our body, our nutrition, our technique, everything. So make sure you're having at least a gallon of water every day. Anytime you pass by a water fountain, you should be drinking water. Like I said, 2 days before the match, that's when you start cutting the water. If you start cutting the water before, the emotion that you're feeling is fear. You're afraid that your weight is going to be too high, but that's just not the time to cut the water weight. You're trying to get good workouts in throughout the week. Okay, so if it is a fear thing, you know it's mindset. You know you have to work on your mindset because there's no reason to be cutting the water that early. You're going to need that energy to be ready to go, to be firing on all cylinders. To make sure
drink a lot of water. Just drink a lot of water. Drink that water. Drink. And why do I feel like I have to pee? Just drink that water. Drink a gallon of water a day. Don't, if you're going by a water fountain, don't go by, stop and drink. And then you have to stop at the restroom. Don't go by the restroom either. Take advantage of it while you have the opportunity. But the reason I say media will drive you crazy is because while they're delivering that message over and over and over again, they also tell you that the water will kill you. They do. This they do. I'm telling you, tap water, kill you. I buy into it. I go buy filtered water. I've seen the water filtration plants at the municipality, several. And yeah, I don't want to drink this water straight out of the tap too much. I do some, but not all the time. Mostly I drink the filtered water through reverse osmosis, because this is the messaging you get on the other side. Drink a gallon of water a day, but don't drink the water. Tap water especially is really bad. But then you hear even commercially available bottled water or canned water is really bad for you. Whoever markets this, called liquid death, I guess it's some sort of a water that you can buy called liquid death, literally. And then they went and they tested this stuff, and the people who tested it say, yes, it is literally liquid death, because they found 7 contaminants in it, 3 toxins above guidelines, some microplastics. They found fluoride. Some people think that's okay. Other people don't want that in their water. pH is 7.23, and you're supposed to only drink, if you really get into it, you're only supposed to drink alkaline water, nothing with that is high in acidity. And total dissolved solids, 113. PFAs, yes, found. And out of 100, it's a 38 out of 100, whatever that score means, but it's rated as poor, and that is liquid death. So make sure you drink a gallon of water a day, but don't drink the water because it'll kill you.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. tomorrow. Maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so yesterday we showed you the connection between the mask research, the ostrich antibodies, and the World Economic Forum. Let me see if I can find that again. Oh, I know where to go. Hang on just a moment. I'll grab it for you. And then we're going to get into this Klaus Schwab stuff. I lost that link, so let me find it for you here. Uno momento, por favor. I will get you the link. Let me should pop up here now. There we go. All right, let me bring this up on the screen for you. So yes, this is World Economic Forum website, and they're talking about the research and promoting the research of this Dr. Yasuhiro Sakamoto. The humble face masks come to symbolize the struggles of recent years and the complexities of battling the pandemic. They talk about these 3-ply surgical masks that are being impregnated with the ostrich antibodies being used to detect COVID. And then later, this Dr. Ostrich, as they call him, out of Japan, Yasuhiro Sakamoto, and his team at this small university in Japan, they're saying that these masks can actually neutralize the COVID virus, but that has yet to be actually proven. And WEF promoting this on their website. And they're working with the farm out in British Columbia, Universal Ostrich Farm. Dr. Sakamoto is. Yes. Which brings me to Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum founder, who's now, get this, under investigation. I'm surprised I haven't heard more about it, frankly. Maybe some of you have. New material even being published as of today. This is a story that really broke about, well, it's because of a Wall Street Journal material article. Here, I'll show you what's out most recently from the Wall Street Journal today. The unraveling of the King of Davos. So this is really where Klaus Schwab has found himself under real scrutiny. The unraveling of the King of Davos. A stunning fall from grace for World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab came amid threats against board members and allegations of financial impropriety, which he denies. Yeah. So, what's this all about? If you have not heard, and I will share this with you tonight, the background and the most recent information, current as of today. It's a developing story that's shaking really the foundations of one of the world's most influential organizations. I've called it an economic think tank, which is basically what it is. That we have this stunning investigation now that's really rocked the World Economic Forum, or the WEF, and its founder, Klaus Schwab. Allegations of financial misconduct, workplace toxicity, and ethical breaches. This is what has led to Schwab's sudden resignation, which I'm sure you've heard about, and a probe now that's making headlines all around the world. I'm surprised not bigger headlines, frankly, especially from those most concerned by what goes on at Davos. But from Davos to your home tonight, I'm sharing what you need to know. So, the World Economic Forum, headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, nonprofit organization, famous for its annual Davos summit, where global leaders from business, politics, beyond, they all go there to shape the world's economic and social agenda. They don't pass laws there. They network, they come up with these ideas, then they go back home, and if they're part of the progressive agenda that the WEF embraces, then they bring those ideas forward and they get implemented sometimes or integrated into the governance of whatever countries they come from, or even the corporate structures, right? And it's become integrated into our society. So over 5 decades, the WEF now has been synonymous with Klaus Schwab. 87 years old now. He's the founder and chairman and a German economist. And he built the WEF from what was really a small conference in 1971 into this global powerhouse. Now, though, his legacy, he is under fire. So back in April, Schwab, this was April 21st, and he shocked the world really by resigning as chairman and member of the WEF's board of trustees. And it was effective immediately. And the announcement came after an emergency board meeting held on Easter Sunday, the day before. No official reason was given at the time, but the very next day, the Wall Street Journal dropped a bombshell. The WEF had launched an independent investigation into Schwab following a whistleblower letter from both current and former staff. And in this letter, which was sent to the WEF's board just days earlier, it contained explosive allegations that have sent shockwaves through the whole organization and beyond. So what exactly are the allegations? Well, according to the Wall Street Journal and other outlets, including Reuters, The Guardian, others, the whistleblower letter accuses Schwab of a range of serious misconduct. First, there's financial impropriety. The letter claims Schwab misused WEF funds, allegedly paying for private in-room massages at hotels and instructing junior employees to withdraw thousands of dollars in cash from ATMs on his behalf. It also alleges that Schwab's wife, Hilde Schwab, was a former WEF employee, used the organization's resources for personal luxury travel, scheduling, what the letter called token meetings to justify those trips. But there's more. The letter also targets Schwab's leadership, alleging he fostered a toxic workplace culture where sexual harassment and discriminatory behavior went unchecked. So specific claims include inappropriate treatment of female employees and a preference for hiring attractive staff. And the whistleblowers also accuse Schwab of undermining the WEF's research integrity, particularly its Global Competitiveness Report, which is a widely respected ranking of countries based on factors like education and infrastructure. And they claim Schwab manipulated data to favor certain governments, raising questions about the WEF's credibility. My, how the mighty are slipping. You see, he's not as sinister a character as a lot of people think. He's just a guy, a man. No matter how much power we think somebody has, at the end of the day, they're human and they're flawed and they're vulnerable and corruptible, even at the highest levels, especially at the highest levels. because power corrupts. And if that isn't enough, the letter goes on to say that Schwab pressured staff to promote him for, get this, a Nobel Peace Prize, and made suggestive comments that contributed to an uncomfortable work environment. Yeah, when you're powerful, it can easily go to your head. And these are serious, serious charges, and they paint a troubling picture of an organization that's long presented itself as a beacon of global cooperation. So on the other side, Klaus Schwab and his family have vehemently denied all the allegations. The spokesperson for Schwab has called the claims unsubstantiated and has accused the whistleblowers of launching a character assassination. Now, he did an interview with the Swiss newspaper Blick, and Schwab has dismissed the accusations, saying there's not a shadow of proof, and specifically denying ever asking employees to withdraw cash. His team insists that any personal expenses like massages were always reimbursed to the WEF. Maybe. Show me the paperwork, I guess. Schwab isn't stopping at denials. He's announced plans to pursue defamation lawsuits against the whistleblowers or anyone spreading what he calls false claims. And the Schwab family's spokesperson also did make a statement to the Wall Street Journal saying that legal action is imminent, and they've signaled that the story is far from over. The WEF is taking the allegations seriously. And so, again, back in April, on the 23rd, the WEF confirmed it had launched an independent investigation overseen by its Audit and Risk Committee and supported by external legal counsel, and in a statement to the WEF, emphasized that the allegations remain unproven and promised to withhold further comment until the probe is complete. Now, this isn't the first time the WEF has faced scrutiny over its internal culture within the organization, prompting an external review. The probe found no legal violations or substantiated misconduct by Schwab, but it has led to leadership changes, setting the stage now for this latest crisis. So what's going to happen next? With Schwab out, the WEF has appointed Peter Brabeck, how do you pronounce the last name? Lethamathe? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I do apologize. Brabeck Lethmaith, I believe. So he's the former chairman and CEO of Nestle. Yeah, I've seen the articles about that. And the board, which includes people like U.S. Vice President Al Gore, former, and Jordan's Queen Rania, and there's the European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde, now searching for a permanent replacement with a decision by January of 2027. So this organization is under pressure to restore and maintain its mission of what they say is fostering global dialogue, all this at a time when its reputation is now under pretty intense scrutiny. Klaus Schwab under a microscope. The scandal is coming at a challenging moment for the WEF. The organization has always faced criticism from both the political left, who see it as this elitist club, and the people on the right side of the political spectrum who accuse it of pushing a globalist agenda. And back in January of this year, Donald Trump used his Davos speech, as you may recall, to rail against the WEF's policies. And that amplified public skepticism. Meanwhile, we're seeing that the WEF's own 2025 Global Risk Report listed misinformation and disinformation as top global threats. A fitting irony, I suppose, given the polarized reactions to what is happening around this story. And then on social media, some people are speculating through posts, that Schwab's resignation, with these unverified claims ranging from demands from millions and payouts to broader conspiracy theories about the WEF's influence here. So, we take a look at this from a big picture perspective, and we see that Schwab's departure marks the end of an era, really, for the World Economic Forum. For 54 years now, he has been the face of Davos. He is a man who has turned a small conference into a global institution. He has integrated progressivism, a real progressive political agenda into our politics throughout the Western world. But the allegations now swirling around him raise pretty tough questions. How will the WEF navigate through this crisis? Can it rebuild trust with its staff, with the public? Certainly, I think, you've seen so much distrust emerge over the years, especially from the left and the right. There isn't much, the progressive political movement still embracing it, but they're under pressure from both sides, and I think it's closing in. And now you're seeing some of the corruption begin to surface and become exposed. So we'll see much traction this gets and how deep this goes. And we'll see if Klaus Schwab is able to get out of this. We'll see how truthful, honest these whistleblowers are as evidence becomes public. The investigation's outcome is going to be critical for the WEF and the progressives. If the allegations are substantiated, they could tarnish Schwab's legacy and damage the WEF's credibility, maybe beyond repair. Now, if they're disproven, Schwab, I don't know, I guess he would maybe emerge vindicated, but I don't think anybody from the political wings that really stand in opposition to him and have no trust of him at all and view him as something of an evil, sinister, almost cartoon-like caricature of evilness, they'll never accept him. I'm sure that a lot of people are saying good riddance, and tonight I think a lot of people are hoping that George Soros is next. Hang in there. We'll be right back right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right. We've seen a new cabinet in Canada for the Carney government. So we've got that. So we should touch on that tonight. And they had their first cabinet meeting today. The funniest thing I've seen with this, I just had to laugh. Chrystia Freeland, who was finance minister with Trudeau, now under Carney, he can't take her to these negotiations with Trump on the tariffs and when they begin to renegotiate the USMCA trade deal. He can't take her because Trump and Chrystia Freeland hate each other. Although I think he should, to drive him crazy. That's why I wanted her to win the leadership and become the leader of the Liberals and maybe prime minister, just because I just wanted him to go down there and irritate him. I thought that would be very entertaining. Didn't happen. He's not taking her. He's given her, get this, he's made her Minister of Transportation. But I saw a post, and it's so true, saying that now Canada's Minister of Transportation does not have a driver's. She doesn't own a car. That's what it is. She doesn't own a car. She does have a driver's license, and she got caught speeding. I think 30 or 40 clicks over the speed limit. I think it was about 2 years ago in a rental. I remember I made a graphic just making fun of her. She was like a speed demon in the thing. It was funny when she got the ticket. So now you have a Minister of Transportation who doesn't own a car. I don't know if that bodes well for motorists. I suppose, though, to be the Minister of Transportation in Canada, you don't need to be a car owner, because of other modes of transportation that includes rail and air and skidoos, bobsleds, dog sleds in Canada. But it's funny, especially when the primary mode of transport in the country is automobiles. I don't know if she can relate or not. I don't know. I just think it's funny. What else can I tell you? And of course, the auto industry is front and center, still a big concern. The oil industry. Do I have the clip of Guilbeault tonight? Yeah, here he is. Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, latching onto this clip from the scrum after today's cabinet meeting with what's Stephen Guilbeault's position now? He's Minister of Canadian Identity. He used to be Minister of Environment. They've moved him into this role now. So yeah, Chrystia Freeland, Minister of Transportation. So she won't be going to the trade talks, won't be going to hang out with Trump, but she's been given that position. Guilbeault moved over here now to Minister of Canadian Identity, but asked today about pipelines. And his response was this.
Premier Smith says that she's still concerned that you're part of cabinet and also the new selection of Mr. Blusen for the environment minister. She says it's too close of a tie to you. What do you say in response to that?
I think we will have to agree to disagree with Premier Smith. We think that protecting the environment, fighting climate change is important. Lots of Canadians believe that as well. It was a central element of our platform, and we will make good on our commitments.
The Prime Minister last night on TV seemed to open the door to potentially changing the emissions cap or the IAA to get projects built. What do you think of what he said?
Well, these are important conversations that we will need to have in the coming weeks.
Premier Smith is saying that you're anti-pipeline still.
So this is laying the groundwork for more conflict, confrontation, not going to solve anything. I don't know if the country's going to break up or what. We're just worried, and it's got the tariffs and all that stuff, and it's just ongoing. And then Doug Ford today announces that he's got a deal with Manitoba to break down trade barriers between the two provinces as we work toward combating the tariffs by opening up interprovincial trade, and that's a new deal, so that's a good thing. And then in the news conference where he's there with Manitoba's Premier, Doug Ford asked about battery plants because Honda's now saying that they're pausing for, I think, 2 years, the electrification of their facilities in Ontario, and there was all this provincial money, billions of dollars being funneled into it, federal money as well, and I think it's a $14 billion project altogether now put on hold. Doug Ford says, "Don't worry, everybody, it's going to be okay." He explains why in this clip, and I was breathing a little bit easier because he says that so far, none of the taxpayer dollars have been spent.
Vic, I'm wondering, or Premier, did you have any advance warning from Honda about what was coming yesterday? Even if they hadn't said anything, did either of you get any vibes that maybe things were not going to go well?
Well, when it came to the tariffs, we're always a little nervous, but Honda, and I'll pass it over to Vic in a second here, Honda has assured us that they're going to continue building vehicles here in Ontario. They're going to continue expanding. But I just have to make something clear. Until any of the deals we made with the EV sector there's not a penny that has flowed yet to Honda. So we haven't spent any money until they start producing products, and that goes for no matter if it's Honda or Volkswagen or Stellantis and Ford and so on and so forth. So we're going to make sure we create that environment to encourage the corporate office to say, we build the best vehicles, which we do. We build the best vehicles, the highest quality, at the lowest cost. And I give all the credit to our hardworking auto workers there, but I'll pass it over to you, Vic.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you, Rob. A couple of the facts adding on to the Premier's comments. 4,200 men and women show up in Alliston every day to build the CR-V and the Civic. The Civic is Canada's #1 selling automobile. These 4,200 jobs are solid. They're not being affected by the pause that Honda is taking. We have landed $46 billion worth of auto and EV, saving the 100,000 auto workers that were in Ontario when we got elected, saving their jobs by expanding into EV, the only sector that those multinationals were moving and expanding into. So we are confident that Honda will, absolutely confident, and have been told by the chairman of Honda that this project will continue. It needs a pause right now as EV sales are not as robust. They're still increasing every year, but they're not as robust as they'd like to see. Certainly the uncertainty created in the U.S. has caused a lot of problems, but I was overseas this week, and at all of the meetings that we held, including breakfast in Germany yesterday, was Ontario is this beacon of hope. That Ontario, of all the places in the world, as all these companies are pausing around the world, there's a lot of capital being built up, that capital needs somewhere to go, and our work is to convince that capital to come here to Ontario, and they all recognize this, and they tell us this. We're this beacon of hope that is stable, reliable, dependable, almost boring in a good way, that you can count on Ontario as being that rock-solid partner for you. And so that, again, as the Premier said, no dollars have been forwarded. We pay and we make our investments based on buildings that are built and people that are hired.
When you were in Germany, were you discussing Volkswagen and their battery plant south of London, and what's the latest on that? Because I don't think they're actually building yet, are they? Aren't they just still doing site prep?
So the last trip to Germany a few weeks ago was specifically to meet with Volkswagen, where they have assured us of the production proceeding in St. Thomas. We've met with the brand new CFO and CEO. Both have now been located into the St. Thomas facility. It's underway. There's a tremendous amount. You can imagine the size of this facility being so large. There's a tremendous amount of infrastructure that's being built, a lot of sewer, a lot of water, a lot of land clearing. So there's still a tremendous amount of investment being made there to get it ready for them to build their facility as they have promised.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Vic. I don't think people realize or appreciate what role Vic plays. Like, it's exhausting. I spent 20 years of my life on a plane every day. It's exhausting. But I was just traveling within the U.S. Vic is representing our province, and to a certain degree, what's good for Ontario is good for the country, so certain parts of the country as well. But he's on this plane, going to Germany, and then hopping on another plane, heading out to Asia. Like, I don't know, boy, he's just amazing. So thank you, Vic, for everything that you do. And just an ask to all the premiers, similar to when I go out there and I'm promoting pipelines, and I know Premier Canoe is as well, saying, hey, let's get pipelines, let's get them all over the market. I always say, as long as the steel obviously comes from Manitoba, they have a steel plant, we have steel plants, so let's use the steel from both jurisdictions. But my ask is, buy Canadian, basically buy Ontario vehicles when possible, as I've asked all our municipalities do the same thing. I know sometimes it's impossible to buy a certain vehicle that we don't make, I get it. But there's a lot of vehicles we make here that you can buy for the province, municipalities, and the federal government.
Okay. So I know there are concerns too about layoffs maybe coming in Oshawa, and very valid. But I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. And with regard to the auto industry, what people are not really hearing, and this is important, most of the automobile trade in Canada is exempt under the USMCA. So from the tariffs. So even though the layoff notices have been issued in Oshawa, they've done that, and they said it was because of the tariffs, but that's because they have to give 6 months notice in order for them to take effect, and because of the disruption that we're seeing because of Trump's tariff war. I think GM really has just done that because they need to have that in place, have the notification in place in case 6 months from now the conditions are such that they need to cut back production and eliminate that shift in Oshawa. So with the declaration from the Trump administration, which came later, saying that all these automobiles produced in Canada, for the most part, and parts, are exempt because they meet the content requirements under the USMCA, then the tariffs don't really apply. I don't think that, and especially since we've seen with these deals that have been very not comprehensive, but very limited in scope, and Trump dialing back and backtracking in dramatic major ways with the UK, with China already. Yeah, I think you're going to see the same thing here. I don't think that the auto industry in the end is going to be impacted anywhere near to the degree that people are fearful of. So I'm very optimistic. That's my opinion on it. Stay tuned, though. There's certainly more to come. And then on Air Force One, well, also, Trump was on Air Force One today, and a lot of concerns about his business dealings in the Middle East. Now, first we'll go here. I just want to run a little bit from this media gaggle on the plane. The audio is a little bit hard to make. It's just not great audio. So I'll run a little bit of it because he makes some comments about Syria that may be of interest to you. I do apologize. It's not us. It's just the way it was recorded. It's noisy.
Very strong advanced fighter.
Does that worry you?
But he's got a real shot at pulling it together. I spoke with President Erdogan.
He's saying the leader of Syria has a chance to kind of pull it together, the new leader of Syria.
Very friendly with it. He feels he's got a shot at pulling things together. It's a torn up country.
Do you think Syria will join the Abraham Accord?
Yeah, but I think they have to get themselves straightened out. I told him, I hope you're going to join when it's straightened out. He said yes. But they have a lot of work to do.
What about Lebanon? Do you think there's a path for Lebanon to normalize relations with Israel?
You know, a friend of mine is the new ambassador to Lebanon, and I didn't even 70s. Pretty amazing. But did you see him? Did you get to see him? No. No, he was there. Yeah, he was with us at the event.
Did the people? Okay. Asking about maybe building a Trump tower in Syria, which just highlights how Trump still has business dealings over in the Middle East, even as president. And a lot of people here like concerned about Carney and his blind trust in his investments, and yet Trump still actually engaged in business dealings. Trump meme coin, and he's profiting. His family's profiting from these engagements. Here, take a look. It's making headlines. There's a lot of scrutiny on this because of this jet 747 being offered from Qatar to Trump as sort of a gift, which Trump is saying isn't really a gift, whatever it kind of is. Trump franchise is expanding in the Middle East, and so are ethical concerns. Here, I'll let some of this roll.
Welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Ryan Nobles in Washington as President Trump kicks off his first major international trip of his second term as he looks to ink new deals and investments in the U.S. while also facing scrutiny over potential personal business conflicts. The president's Middle East itinerary notably includes 3 countries where the Trump organization has planned real estate projects and other business ties, starting in Saudi Arabia, where he was greeted in Riyadh by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as part of a lavish welcome ceremony. The 2 leaders then participated in a signing ceremony for a strategic economic partnership between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia on issues related to energy, defense, and health. The White House says that Saudi Arabia has also committed to invest $600 billion in the U.S., though the specific details remain a bit unclear. Speaking at an investment forum hosted by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, President Trump praised the new generation of leaders transforming the Middle East.
Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence.
The president also had strong words for Iran, threatening, quote, maximum pressure if the ongoing nuclear talks fail. The president also seemed to open the door to diplomacy with Syria, but the president's trip has reignited concerns about conflicts of interest due to the Trump family's extensive and growing business ties to the region, which now include multiple Trump Organization real estate projects, the UAE's $2 billion investment in the president's crypto venture, Jared Kushner's investment firm that received at least $2 billion from a fund tied to the Saudi government, and the president's longstanding relationship with the Saudi-backed Live Gulf organization. Meanwhile, back here at home, the administration is facing pushback over its decision to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar to be used as Air Force One. Some of those critics are members of his own party who are raising serious security concerns.
I think it's not going
to. Okay. Yeah, I'll let Rand Paul speak, and then I'll rewind to get you that clip, and then we'll move on.
Serious security concerns.
I think it's not going to pass the smell test, so I wouldn't do it. Qatar has a lot of...
Are you going to call on the president to change his mind?
Well, sure. I just said it right now. I don't think it's a good idea for him to do it.
Would it worry you if the president was flying on a plane that the Qatari government provided?
It would make me consider the appropriateness of that, yes.
Yeah. He seems to intend to use it for Air Force One. Do you have security concerns?
Well, they better sweep that plane from front to back.
Well, what I'm concerned is the safety of the president. I mean, Qatar's not, in my opinion, a great ally. I mean, they support Hamas. And so what I'm worried about is the safety of the president of the United States.
You know, you've seen some of these world leaders, Middle Eastern leaders sponsoring Trump's golf tournaments. That you're seeing, how much was it that, was it Cotter that invested in Trump's meme coin, something like $2 billion. This is insane. And he's getting away with it. This is really unprecedented. Talk about corruption. But hey, if he's doing it in the name of the United States, it's not illegal, right? He's immune, apparently. Crazy stuff. Who wants a little liquid death? I mean, water. How about some ginger ale? Have we missed anything tonight? Or are we nearing the end of tonight's broadcast? Oh, yes. I'm going to run this clip from Melanie Joly. She's going to be involved in these trade negotiations with Trump because Trump doesn't hate her as much as he hates Chrystia Freeland. But she was asked today, on this day of the first cabinet meeting for the Canadian Carney government, about the auto industry.
What are their contingency plans? The Prime Minister says we always have to plan for the worst. If the auto plants move south, can they be retooled? Can you redevelop the auto plants?
So I've already been in contact with the CEOs of GM, Ford, and also Stellantis. My goal is to be able to have good conversations with them before the end of the week. My message to the workers in the auto sector is we're there for you. We know that there's anxiety. We know you're concerned about losing shifts. We know we were concerned about losing your jobs, and we will always fight for your jobs. Notwithstanding that, we also have a $2 billion worth of support for the industry, the auto industry, the steel and aluminum industries that are affected by the trade war. One of my first decisions will be also to make sure that the workers can benefit from these investments. Merci. Merci.
The other thing to keep in mind is that during the first Trump administration, Trump 1.0, he imposed tariffs on the Canadian steel and aluminum industries then, and we survived. It made some headlines, but because it wasn't an across-the-board trade war, it didn't receive nearly as much attention. But even with those tariffs, the Canadian steel and aluminum industries did not, we didn't lose them. So I think we're going to be okay with the way I see everything unfolding, and that's me editorializing. Just stay calm, carry on. I've seen also that because of the tariff war, you're getting this surge in sort of patriotism, but there's some kind of, I'd say it's sort of a fake patriotism to some degree. Let me see if I can find the clip here of what I'm going to show you. This is for Jeeps. There we go. So Jeep has launched a campaign, an ad campaign, trying to tap into U.S. patriotism. As we keep hearing about Trump trying to bring back the auto industry to the USA. So they're highlighting the fact that some of these Jeep products are manufactured right in America. Here's what it looks like. But wait till I share with you what I'm going to share with you at the end.
We were born on the battlefield and answered the call when America needed us most. From the original Freedom Machine came the original SUV, and we build every Wrangler and Gladiator right here in Toledo. The Grand Cherokee and Grand Wagoneer, built right here in Michigan. We've always stood for American freedom. Now with our Freedom of Choice pricing program, you can choose your offer. Cash incentives or employee pricing for all. Jeep, America's most patriotic brand. Then, now, forever.
Yeah, America's most patriotic brand. Thing is, the auto industry is so globalized now what you maybe don't know is that Jeep is owned by Stellantis, which is based in the Netherlands. And they have, I believe it's total under the Stellantis umbrella now. I want to check the total number. I think it's 14. I'm just checking. 14 different brands, including Jeep. In Hoofddorp, Netherlands. And so this great American brand, Jeep. Originally, it was Jeep. It got eventually taken over by American Motors Corporation, then swallowed up by Chrysler. And then Chrysler became part of, Mercedes-Benz took over Chrysler. Then there were, now we're, just different ownership structures. And we ended up with Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Dodge, all being swallowed up by Stellantis. And they have all these different brands, but as much as they're portraying Jeep to be this great American brand today, the assembly plants are here. That's great, but the head office is over in the Netherlands. They do have offices in Dearborn, Michigan, but all these companies, certainly since like the 80s, globalization began to take place. So you've got Stellantis, which is the parent company, and then these other companies like Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. They also own brands like Alfa Romeo. What else do they own? I want to check because I don't want to speak out of turn. Abarth, Citroen, DS Automobiles, Fiat, Lancia, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, Vauxhall, Ram. And then they have some other smaller companies that they manage. Fiat, they have Fiat as well. Vauxhall, there's a name. Used to see in North America, not so much these days. So they've got all these, it's a global company. Go America. That's why these tariffs are not such a great idea, Donald. But we'll see. We'll see. What else do we have for you tonight? We're saving the bugs, so you can't eat the bugs anymore because you can't, no more bugs. Can you eat giant snakes? What about snakes? You can eat rattlesnake. Has anyone ever eaten snake? Is it cruel to kill a snake? When I was young, snakes didn't bother me at all. But today, they do creep me out. I have to confess. I don't know what it is with my old age. A lot of things bother me that didn't bother me before. This is the, what do they call this thing? The Yakumama. Yakamama. It's a giant anaconda from the Amazon. And these things, get this. I wanted to show you this tonight. Since we're doing all things animals and creatures from the Black Lagoon and beyond into the anaconda Amazonian rainforest, they certainly grow things bigger where it's warm all the time, don't they? So here's the Yakamama. And this thing, if this don't scare you, man, I don't know what the heck will. Look at the size of this amphibious serpent. Look at the length of that thing. Holy crap. Oh my God. Look at the size of that. There's enough snake there to feed New York City for a month. Wow. Well, I'm just going to dip in here for a moment and see what else is going on. Any new developments? Has the CFIA moved in there, and is the standoff really taken off at the bird sanctuary now out in British Columbia? I'm not seeing it. I did see a video here of Jim Kerr saying that he's spinning up a bit of a conspiracy, maybe, or maybe it's truth, that they were digging holes in the landfill for these ostriches a long time ago. It was all pre-planned. Yeah, show me the proof, man. I'm not buying it. Sorry. It'd take more than that. Hang on a second here. Let me just need to take a break. We might have some developments out there. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And then just for the sake of accuracy, I did make reference to the hammer and sickle on that guy's shirt who was in that video. I couldn't really see what, because we were picking it up midstream, but here's what it actually is. It's the hammer and sickle making the C for the word Canada. So I guess you're kind of saying it's like China or communist Canada. I get it. Just to let you know. So we'll continue to follow it to some degree, but I will continue to bring truth and balance and show all sides of the story, whether some people are comfortable with that or not, because that's my job. And I am here to serve you. And I hope that some people today still value that. With that, everybody, I think we're going to wrap up for tonight, given that we're at the top of the hour. Let me just check the chat here briefly. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out here tonight. Thanks for keeping an open mind. Thanks for looking at all the information. And I hope that it has been helpful in getting everyone here a little bit closer to the truth tonight. I'll have more tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side. What do you want me to leave you with? Well, let's just let Cosmo take it away, since I have to go take him for a walk. Hopefully he hasn't completely devoured my shoe. See you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom and running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as the wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Cosmo's got them paws that just itch to roam. He's chasing his dreams, he's far from home. With a heart full of love stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Yeah, the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray, but Cosmos still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmos Run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling low, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a bird, a heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.